I know it will be painful for you, but can you enlighten us once more, my Maple Leaf?
Yes, I'll try, Mr. Judge. Putting on the old charm one more time, eh, Dahlia? But this will be the last time you hide behind your womanly walls.
Yep. Let's make it count, Mia. 5 years ago.
5 years ago, I was kidnapped by Mr. Falls. The ransom price was a raw diamond. My sister Valerie brought it to the bridge. After she made the exchange, she shot Mr. Falls in the arm. That's when Mr. Falls tried to kill me by shoving me off the bridge from behind. I survived, but I was afraid I might be kidnapped again for my family's money. So I decided to change my identity and start a new life.
The kidnapping left her emotionally scarred. Yeah, right, I'm sure of that. With her sister's help, she left the Hawthorne family and started all over again. And we're to believe after all that, she murdered her sister? Preposterous! Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Miss Faye?
Yes, Your Honor.
As you heard, the witness is still traumatized from the kidnapping. I'll ask you again to be extremely gentle in your cross-examination.
Mr. Edgeworth forgot to jump on me again.
Huh. If you are not allowed to fight, then let's twist some arms. Listen up, you still got that info. That ace up our sleeve.
What info?
Come on, kid. Don't say you've forgotten already. The fact that the kidnapping 5 years ago was staged. Yeah, truly.
That's right. It was a fake kidnapping. Terry Falls told us that in the lobby.
I do anything she says. Anything Dahlia says.
What you're saying is that the kidnapping 5 years ago was planned by...
Yeah, me and Dahlia. And Valerie, too.
Yes, that's it. The fake kidnapping is your best shot, Mia. That's her secret.
Yeah, that and, well, there is a little bit of a detail that Terry Falls told us before, during recess, and it kind of contradicts something in this cross-examination. But until then, let's see what are the details we can learn out of this.
Did you and Mr. Falls have a relationship? Yes, as a tutor. You're tutoring him, Mr. Falls? No, of course not. Don't be ridiculous. Mr. Falls came to the house to tutor me. That makes sense. 5 years ago, she was only 14.
He probably came up with a kidnapping plan during that time. The Hawthorns are in the jewelry trade and are quite wealthy, you see. What a clever fellow, that Mr. Falls.
Did I hear him right? Did he just call Mr. Falls a clever fellow?
Men of the law, ladies and gents. Men of the law.
The ransom price was a raw diamond. My sister Valerie brought it to the bridge. I heard the diamond is valued in the neighborhood of $2 million.
$2 million?
It was still uncut, so it was about the size of a pint of milk.
A $2 million pint of milk. I don't know what to think of that. The defendant demanded their sister, Valerie, make the exchange. Not as a detective, of course, but as an individual.
By the way, I want to ask you, Mr. Edgeworth, why do you think he wanted to make the exchange up there on the mountain? If he ever got surrounded, it would be hard to escape.
And there's one thing a kidnapper wants to prevent, and that's police involvement. In a place like that, it would be easy to tell if he was being followed. With only one entrance to the mountain, he was ensuring his safety. I guess.
What a wickedly clever man that Mr. Falls is.
Yeah, right. It was all your plan.
Anyway, Valerie brought the diamond to the mountain and... After she made the exchange, she shot Mr. Falls in the arm. That was a dangerous thing to do considering you were being held hostage. Yes, but actually, that saved my life.
What do you mean?
You see, Mr. Falls was holding a knife in his right hand. Somehow, I just knew he was going to use it. I knew he was going to use that knife to kill me. And that's why my sister shot him. He was to save me. And that's why Mr. Falls tried to kill me by shoving me off the bridge from behind.
Yeah, about that.
I'd like to hear more about what happened right at the moment. Well, when Mr. Falls was shot in the right arm, he let go of me. I was dazed. I turned to try and run away, but Mr. Falls tried to grab me as well. As I ran past, he and I locked eyes for a second, and he gave me a large, bloodthirsty grin.
Bloodthirsty grin? Oh!
And in the next instant...
I advise the court to remember that the river is 18 feet deep and incredibly swift.
I was a strong swimmer, but I was knocked out. When I came to, I had been carried away by the river to a strange place. I'll never forget that day. The crumbling bridge, nowhere to run. Then just one little shove from behind. That was it. Before my sister could catch me, I fell into the river. I survived, but I was afraid I might be kidnapped again for my family's money.
And that's why you hid your identity?
Yeah. I only told my sister.
Very helpful, eh?
Yes, she's the only one who knew about me.
Meanwhile, legally, this witness has been deceased for 5 years. Yeah, once again, you're throwing that legally in our faces.
I did never want something like that to happen to me again. So I decided to change my identity and start a new life.
And that new identity was Melissa Foster, right?
Yes, my sister helped me get the official paperwork taken care of.
That makes sense. Without an insider's help, doing all the paperwork would have been impossible.
She was the only person in the world I could count on. And you think I killed her? There's no way I could.
Is the moment of truth for this witness, too. Once the truth about this staged kidnapping comes out, everyone in the court will know how much of a Jezebel. Everyone in the court will know how much of a Jezebel she really is. I just got to prove that kidnapping was a hoax. Okay, well, nothing else to press. Okay, so I did mention that one thing that Terry Falls said in the recess, and how it contradicts what Dahlia is saying over here. That Dahlia is saying that Falls is the one responsible for shoving her off the bridge. However, Falls didn't say anything about him doing that. He just said that Dahlia jumped off the bridge. So yeah, there is that discrepancy over there, but what evidence should I even use for this? I mean, we're definitely gonna have to prove that, well, in this case, we're definitely gonna have to prove that Terry Falls is not the one responsible for this, that he is not a killer, that he's not a monster like Dahlia is saying. It is Dahlia that jumped on purpose, just so that she could run away with the diamond by herself. So, either, like, we're definitely gonna have to prove that Falls didn't do it. But how? Bridge unchanged for 5 years. Does this have anything to say? The bridge, scarf identification, talk to Dahlia, tell her the truth. We basically checked like every single little detail in this whole thing. We used every single little piece of information over here in our favor. So... Dusky Bridge? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, what we could use in our favor over here. Maybe there's something else that I'm missing here. Hold on. You're afraid that you might be kidnapped again. Decided to change your identity and start a new life. That is technically true. She shot Mr. Foles in the arm. Well, there is no doubt that Foles said that too. That Valerie, quote-unquote, betrayed them. That Valerie betrayed them and shot. That is true. And we're gonna have to prove that it was a staged kidnapped. Do we even have evidence for that? To prove that it was a staged kidnapping? Not really. A $2 million gem used as a ransom for Dahlia. Lost to Eagle River 5 years ago. Well, hold on a second. Why? If this was lost to Eagle River 5 years ago, then how come Dahlia never used this to begin with? It's still with us after all these years. Doesn't really tell us that this was a staged kidnapping, but it's kind of weird that we still have this diamond. You would think that she would have used that diamond until now, in all these 5 years since she started her new life. I mean, she was the one responsible for taking the diamond with her. I mean, people think that the diamond was lost with Dahlia, but no, she took it with her. I don't know. Hold on, let me think about it this way. Where was Dahlia when she jumped? I mean, if she were to jump, Dahlia and the Falls they were near the broken part of the bridge, like on the right. I mean, I guess if I were to say that there is a contradiction, I could just bring up this map and say that Dahlia couldn't have jumped, like right over here on the right where they both were, because if she did, she would have hit the rocks? Therefore, it couldn't have been possible for... No, wait, that would imply that she didn't even jump in the first place. Still, it's better than nothing, I guess. I don't know. Actually, you know what? Let's go with this. Let's say that she couldn't have jumped, or rather, Foles couldn't have thrown Dahlia off the bridge there, because if you were to do that, then, well, she would have hit the rocks. Instead, something else happened on that bridge at that point. Thus, she jumped off the bridge, but on the left side. That a completely different scenario happened at that point, because who else do we have that knows about what happened there? There's Valerie that died. So clearly she cannot tell us the truth about what happened there. There's Dahlia over here that is clearly lying to us. And I guess we could ask Foles about this, about what truly happened, in which case he would be lying to us. But okay, let's see if this is actually gonna do us something. You say that Mr. Falls pushed you into the Eagle River. However, that's hard to believe. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I made it.
But it's true. I felt a push on my back. I'm certain of it. It was Mr. Falls.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bitch. I guess I wasn't clear enough. I shouldn't have said, that's hard to believe. I should have said, that's impossible.
Impossible?
I asked that the court recall the condition of Dusky Bridge, now and 5 years ago. That bridge hasn't changed one bit in these last 5 years. If someone had pushed you from behind as you have claimed, instead of being carried away by the river, you would have been smashed by the bedrock below. Yeah, I guess so. I guess I was right in that. Most certain death. Do you understand now, Dahlia Hawthorne? The very notion that my client pushed you from behind is impossible! Your Honor, this event occurred 5 years ago. Why, for all we know, the water level in the river may have been higher back then. But it's 40 feet from the bridge to the river. A small change in the water level wouldn't have made a difference. You're right. If the events occurred just as the witness has testified, then the defendant couldn't have pushed the witness into the river. Young lady, what is the meaning of this?
You see,
Just a moment, Your Honor. It's true that the witness testified that the defendant pushed her into the river. However, she never stated that she fell from the back end of the bridge. Yeah, that was one of the things I was thinking of. But what do you mean? After being shot in the arm, it's plausible that Mr. Falls panicked. Therefore, he could have willingly pushed her off the side of the bridge. If that's true, she would have fallen into the river. Well, Miss Hawthorne, is Mr. Edwards' explanation correct?
Now that you mention it, I do remember now. When I fell off the bridge, my skirt got caught up on one of the bridge's side wires.
Ah, great.
You can't be serious!
Order! Order in court! It seems Miss Faye's assault has finally reached its conclusion. Not yet, Edgeworth. Not yet. Objection! Not now, Mia. This is no time to retreat. Unfortunately for you, this is just the start of Miss Faye's assault. What? Oh? Do you have an idea? I believe your reasoning went something like this, Mr. Edgeworth. After being shot in the arm, it's plausible that Mr. Falls panicked. Therefore, he could have unwillingly pushed her off the side of the bridge. However, once again, I'm forced to say that's impossible. Ridiculous! What's so impossible about it? Because your flawed logic contradicts the court record. Okay, so Mia is saying that that's impossible as well. That Falls couldn't have pushed Dahlia to the side of the bridge. I wonder why. Died from blood loss. Is there something else to the map? Huh? Okay, you said that the bridge was unchanged for 5 years, right? Okay. I think that what Mia is trying to say over here is that maybe Falls couldn't have been able to push Dahlia off the bridge because of the railings? Now I could say that, well, Dahlia was 14 and Falls is a big dude, so even if the railings were that huge, if the wires were up to that level, to their heads, Falls could have... No, hold on a second. I am missing this detail over here. Mia and the rest did say that Falls was shot in the arm. Maybe she's saying that it's impossible because of the shot in the arm. That she couldn't push Dahlia into the river because of his arm. Maybe that's what Mia is trying to say over here. Let's see. Your Honor, all the answers are right here in this photo. Take a look at the wires supporting both sides of the bridge. They extend up to about 5 feet off the ground. It would be impossible to push someone off from there.
No!
But let's remember the size and strength of the defendant. Wires like this wouldn't be a problem for him. Nah, I mean that would be the case if he was just fine before quote-unquote pushing Dahlia off the bridge, but he wasn't. He could have easily picked up a 14-year-old girl and thrown her over. So young, and already so forgetful, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Falls had been shot in the right arm. Oh. And more importantly, Valeria Hawthorne had her gun trained on him, at point-blank range. Yeah, that is true. If Falls were to do that, then clearly Valerie would have done something at that point. But given the fact that Dahlia herself just jumped off the river just like that, probably at Valerie's surprise, Valerie wouldn't have shot anything. So, Mr. Falls throwing the witness off the bridge? That is clearly impossible. Order! Order! What is the meaning of this? Dahlia Hawthorne, you jumped into the Eagle River intentionally. What? What is this? Indeed. What do you mean by such a ridiculous remark?
Yes, it's ridiculous.
It's definitely not ridiculous. You had your intentions, Dahlia Hawthorne. Knowing you, you totally wanted all the money for you. Just for you. There is a reason why the diamond was lost as well. You had it with you all along, and you intentionally jumped up the bridge so that you can have all the money.
My sister was there to help me. She had her gun and handcuffs. She could have saved me. Jumping into a raging river like that would be a suicide.
Perhaps, but still, that's exactly what you did. You were probably confident that you could handle the swift current. But even more so, the witness had a much more compelling reason for jumping into the river. Oh, then what is it? What was so important that she'd want to jump into the river? The witness is still alive. This fact alone explains everything. This is why she risked her life by jumping into the rapids of the Eagle River. Yeah, there is one huge motive for that. And that will be the diamond, lost to Eagle River 5 years ago. Used as ransom for Dahlia. That should suffice. 5 years ago, something else disappeared along with Dahlia that day. The item that Valerie brought up the mountain with her, the $2 million diamond. No, it can't be! Yes, Dahlia had it all planned from the beginning. The $2 million. She was going to keep it all for herself. She forced Mr. Falls to help her fake the kidnapping. At the last minute, she betrayed him and threw herself into the river.
with the ransom tucked away safely in her backpack.
Wait, that's simply ridiculous! Order! Order! Your Honor, 5 years ago, the witness was only 14 years old. Do you really think a 14-year-old is capable of such a demonic plan? If we're talking about Dahlia, sure. I mean, in the end, she didn't care about anybody.
This woman is a demon. And there was one more person who helped make a demon out of her. Her sister, Valerie Hawthorne.
You mean the victim was involved in the kidnapping plot as well? But she was a detective then. You're saying she participated in her sister's kidnapping?
Precisely. I'm sure that it weighed heavily on her conscience for the past 5 years. This is the sole reason behind the victim's murder.
What do you mean by that? Yeah, I guess it weighed on her conscience. Reason why we have the victim's note in the first place. Right over here. Confidential police materials. So, yeah.
On the day of the murder, after receiving the phone call from Mr. Falls, Valerie called her sister, Dahlia, and then she told her what she was planning to do.
Planning to do? She was going to tell the whole truth, as she wrote it in her note.
That is what sealed Valerie Hawthorne's fate. That is when you hatched your demonic plan to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. A plan that would ensure neither of your accomplices to the kidnapping would talk. And that is why you killed your sister, Valerie Hawthorne.
Who is that? Laughing at a time like this.
Forgive me. It's just hilarious.
Witness? Is that you? Yeah, that's definitely her.
You amuse me, woman. Miss Mia Fey. You can certainly weave an exciting tale. Naturally, you have the evidence to back it up, don't you?
The evidence? Oh boy, here we go. So you want conclusive evidence, eh? Not our first rodeo.
Evidence that I planned the kidnapping, of course. That at 14, I plotted with Mr. Falls and my sister. Well,
Conclusive evidence, conclusive evidence. I mean, there's a lot of things that we discussed that we use all of this evidence on her. Conclusive evidence? I don't know. Maybe you can testify more about that?
And one more thing. What happened to the $1 million diamond? If you cannot provide evidence to at least show that.
Want me to say?
I don't know.
Actually, I think I may have said something wrong over here, that we had the diamond with us all along. But in actuality, no, it's not with us. I mean, thank God that I didn't use that train of thought in the last testimony to use it against her. Otherwise, that surely would have been something. I was wondering why we had the diamond with us all along, like right over here. But no, this is information about the diamond that was used as ransom 5 years ago. We don't have the diamond with us as evidence.
What a joke. You, Miss Faye. Are you stupid or something? How can I prove a fake kidnapping that happened 5 years ago? I don't even have decisive proof of Valerie Hawthorne's murder.
Well, it seems that we come to the end. To be honest, the witness's behavior does raise certain suspicions. However, I am forced to reject the assertions made by the defense.
Of course you are. Is this it? Is it really over? That girl has made a fool of me and there's nothing I can do about it.
I guess so. Now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, it kind of makes me question about this. I mean, we do know that Dahlia was still free, even by the time Mia had her second case, and that was when we caught Dahlia, and we sent her to jail. Now... Huh. Without evidence, the trial is over. Who decided that?
Mr. Mondo.
Come on now, kid. Haven't you figured it out that you can make your own rules? For example, even if there's no evidence, there is still testimony.
That is true. We can still make people testify a little bit more and catch them in the act when they slip with a slip of the tongue. Testimony.
On the day in question, Dahlia Hawthorne murdered her sister, Valerie Hawthorne. She hid her body in the trunk of Mr. Fo's stolen car, and then went to meet with him, disguised as her sister, Valerie Hawthorne. That's what you think, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's right.
In that case, there's only one answer, right? There's only one person left who can testify about Valerie Hawthorne's murder.
I guess so. Guess it's time to testify that person. Since there's no proof, there's only one thing left to do. Who is the one person who can testify for that demon woman's crime? The only person that I can think of. Detective Gumshoe. Nah, it's actually Terry Falls. Your Honor, the defense wishes to call a new witness.
A new witness?
Yes. We would like to hear the testimony of Terry Falls.
The defendant?
There's only one person that can shed any further light on the situation. Only one person that knows what Dahlia's role in the kidnapping was. Only one person that can say whether the person in the photo is Valerie Hawthorne, or whether it was in fact her younger sister, Dahlia, disguised as her. There's only one person who can solve this riddle once and for all. And that person is... Terry Falls.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what is your take on this?
Why not?
The prosecution has no objection. I guess. Very well. Bailiff, bring the defendant to the witness stand.
This is my last chance, Mr. Falls. My last chance to establish Dahlia's guilt. You're all I have left.
Defendant, you've heard everything that's been said up to this point, yes? I don't believe it. No way. Dahlia died 5 years ago. Valerie betrayed me.
Mr. Falls, I don't know what she said to you 5 years ago, but one thing is clear. Dahlia is very much alive, and you are used for $2 million.
That's not true. Mr. Falls, there's only one question I want the answer to. 2 days ago on Dusky Bridge, who did you meet? Was it Valerie Hawthorne? Or was it Dahlia Hawthorne? Dahlia, did you betray me? 5 years ago, she promised never ever betray each other.
Terry.
Dahlia, it's true. You're alive.
You don't trust me anymore? That makes me sad.
Tell the truth. The real truth. I believed in you.
I shouldn't need to say it. You should already know. But there is one thing that I will say. My life is in your hands right now, Terry.
Dahlia. I'll allow Mr. Falls to testify once and once only. Well then, Mr. Falls, yours will be the final testimony in this trial. Witness. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Water. Please, water. Hmm? He got dog. Need water. Eh? Oh, I guess I will have to be my coffee instead. At least to imagine the way he's probably feeling right now. Darker and bitterer than hell itself. Damn. Alright. Let's conclude right over here. What do you have to say, Terry Falls? That day, 4 p.m., I stopped the car. I was in front of bridge. She wasn't there, so I waited on bridge. I watched my car from bridge. I never put nobody in that car. Finally, one woman came. She stood in front of me. We talked, and then she left. That was Valerie, not my Dahlia.
Mr. Falls, you're covering for her. Do you think she would do the same for you?
That's enough, Miss Faye. His last statement was a fitting way to end the final testimony of the trial.
Yeah, not yet, Edgeworth, not yet.
Well then, Miss Faye, please proceed with your cross-examination.
Is this how you wanted to end, Mr. Falls? Another guilty verdict to go along with your death sentence?
There's only one person who can stop it. You, kitten. I think.
You think?
Alright. Let's see how we're gonna deal with this one. That day, 4 p.m., I stopped the car. I was in front of bridge.
According to the note, the meeting was supposed to take place at 4:30.
You certainly arrived early, didn't you? It was raining. Already dark, too.
You waited on the bridge for 30 minutes?
Mr. Falls? Eagle Mountain. That spot. Strong memories.
Why didn't he just climb up? Could it be he's hiding something here?
She wasn't there, so I waited on the bridge. Yeah, I like waiting. I'm used to it. I sure is. Zebra Boy waited 5 years to ask a simple question. To find out why a woman betrayed him. To him, 30 minutes must have been like the blink of the eye. I watched my car from bridge. I never put nobody in that car.
You were watching the car?
That bridge. Other side is broken. Nobody can come from there. So, I was watching car. What else were you expecting him to do?
I suppose that's the obvious thing to do, but something's bothering me. I'm getting that feeling. A contradiction?
Yep. You can sense it. Your attorney's senses are tingling. You have a contradiction here. I don't know what the contradiction is yet, but we're gonna find it out. I wonder what's on the other side of the broken bridge anyway. No one lives there. There's a small shrine up on the mountain, but that's it. Anyway, nobody came. No car, nothing. Finally, one woman came. She stood in front of me.
Mr. Falls, think carefully now. Are you certain that it was very half-warm?
I never lie. It is the truth. It was Valerie. I remembered her face.
Oh, Falls. Wait a minute. If he had remembered her face, then why did he make her wear a scarf as identification?
Because she remembered her face at that point? I mean, The fact this note was written like before, Falls will remember. Sorry. I told a lie. Oh, Falls. But the woman I met, she was different from the woman standing here now. She was different. It was Valerie. We talked, and then she left.
What did you talk to her about anyway?
Mr. Falls. Valerie told the truth about the kidnapping 5 years ago. She said someone needed to take the blame for it. That was all I could think to do. She said that. That's why she lied. Got me the death penalty. And were you satisfied with the answer, witness? Dahlia died. It was my fault. But I don't really remember. Maybe I did. Maybe I did push her in. Huh? It don't matter no more. Either way, my Dahlia, my sweet teen angel, dead.
You just saw that she isn't dead.
After Valerie talked to me on bridge, nothing left to live for. That was Valerie, not my Dahlia.
How can he be so sure? It was raining at the time, and sunset that day was at 5 o'clock. It would have already been pretty dark on that mountain at 4:30. Please, Mr. Falls, this is your last chance. You've already taken a fall on for something you didn't do.
That woman. It wasn't Dahlia. Stop right there. What more needs to be said?
No, let's not stop here. You gotta be kidding me, guys. Let's not stop here. There's more cross-examining to do. Even if it means the death penalty. Even if it means taking the blame for murder. You'll still do whatever is necessary to protect her, won't you, Mr. Falls?
Sheesh. Dahlia sure has quite the power on man, for sure. I know it's obvious, but he's clearly lying. He's being cursed by Dahlia Halford. He'll probably go to his grave still believing in her.
Mr. Falls.
Even if he can show he's lying, the poor guy will still be cursed. He'll still have to point out the contradiction anyway. And that's the curse of being a defense lawyer, I guess. Okay, well, let's assess the situation over here. You stopped the car, you went in front of the bridge. She wasn't there, so you waited on the bridge. You washed your car from the bridge. You never put the body in that car. Finally, one woman came. She stood in front of me. We talked, you talked, and then she left. And you're saying that that was Valerie, not Dahlia. Wait, hold on a second. Let me imagine this situation once more. You stopped the car. You were in front of the bridge. She wasn't there, so you waited on the bridge. Washed the car from bridge. You never put no body in that car. Finally, one woman came. She stood in front of you. Front of you as in... I think that you're lying over here. You are actually lying. Because you are saying that the woman was not there in the first place. And that you came first. And then that woman came after you. However... Yeah, it makes me think of the witness's photo that we've seen before. As you can see, like right over here, the photo was taken from the right side with the timer on the camera. That would mean that if what Falls is telling us the truth, then the woman will be on the left side and Falls will be on the right side. But here we see that it's the opposite way around. That would mean that that would mean that it was Dahlia that came there first, and then Terry Falls came in afterwards. Therefore, he's lying. The woman was there before. So, nah, this is clearly a contradiction over here. I'm sorry, Falls. You are just not telling us the truth. Come on, Falls. So when you got to the bridge, no one had arrived, huh? Well, that's a lot of crock. So you waited on the bridge. You're sure of that? Yeah, I'm sure. You're sure, huh? Well then, I'm sure too, Mr. Falls. I'm sure that you're lying. Oh. I would love to hear your rationale on this, Miss Faye. You want to know who arrived at the bridge first? Just look at this photo. It's perfectly clear. Obviously, the person that came first would be the one at the end of the bridge, right? But that's the victim at the end of the bridge. Precisely my point. In other words, Mr. Falls, you must have arrived at the bridge after she did. Mr. Falls, please don't get so worked up. We just want the truth. I got there around 4 o'clock. It's true. I had somewhere to go. A special place. Eh? A special place? Did you go to this special place before you went to the bridge? Yeah. It's an old temple about 15 minutes from the bridge. An old temple? I mean, it was mentioned before that there was some shrine around here. Dahlia mentioned it, and even Edgeworth mentioned that, I remember. So, 5 years ago, me and Dahlia, we promised each other. We swore we wouldn't betray each other. She brought a memento to represent our love. A memento? A memento? 5 years ago, I hid it under a base of tree there. It's a special memory for me. This is it. This is what I went to get. I remember this. This was the necklace that Nick wore. Because of Dahlia. There's a little bottle on the necklace is your memento. It's quite charming. Well, it looks empty. Yeah. No doubt that it can be used to store poison in it, that's for sure. Your Honor, you heard what my client said. He arrived at the scene at 4 o'clock. But he then left his car unattended and walked away. He was gone for approximately 30 minutes. With that much time, Dahlia Hawthorne could have easily hidden the body in the trunk of his car. No! Indeed, there certainly was enough time for it. Still got a chance. Mr. Falls, there's no mistaking it. Mr. Falls? Yeah? But that's enough. Please. Falls? Witness? I promised her 5 years ago. If it ever happens that we cannot trust each other no more, then we're supposed to drink bottle. You mean... You don't mean to say that you drank the contents of that bottle? Oh god. No! Stop the troll! Your Honor, we need a recess. You gotta be kidding me. I was stupid. Couldn't keep promise. So I did it. I drank this. Oh my freaking god. Falls, you idiot! Did you even know what you drank in the first place? No, we are so close. Just a little more. I was going to prove your innocence. Oh god. This was Dahlia's plan all along. In case this would ever happen, she told Falls to drink the contents of that bottle, so that he wouldn't say anything, to keep his mouth shut. No, don't want that. Don't trust himself. Maybe kill again. Kill sweet Dahlia. Again. What do you mean kill Dahlia? You didn't kill her. She jumped herself in the bridge. Mr. Falls. Mr. Armando. Thanks for the coffee. Mr. Falls! And so my first trial ended. Suddenly and tragically. It ended with no winners, only losers. I ended up with a wound that cut so deep into my soul, I thought it would never heal. I guess so. I guess this is what happened that made Mia not be a defense attorney anymore after this. Until Nick came and she was able to catch Dahlia at her next trial. I guess so. I guess this is the tragic moment that happens. And I guess it makes sense. I mean, we do know that Edgeworth never really lost a case. If we were to catch Dahlia right now, then that would mean that Edgeworth had lost a case. And that's surely not it. I'm sure it was the same for the young prosecutor as well. But one person, the true criminal, Dahlia Hawthorne, she left the courtroom with a secret smile on her demonically sweet face. Unforgivable. That witch. Mr. Armando. We were so close to the truth. It was right there in front of us. You are just a little too soft, kid. It's my fault. It's all my fault that Mr. Falls killed himself. Oh, don't cry, kitten. You're going to make my coffee all salty. I knew it. I knew I wasn't cut off for this. Mia. Don't you get it? You cannot cry yet. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. Mr. Armando. No matter how tough the case, no matter how bitter the memories, they always fade over time. Then you file them away and eventually forget them. One year later, in this very same courthouse, I myself got wrapped up in that case. Only after that did Dahlia Hawthorne get put on trial for her crimes. And the verdict that was ultimately handed down to her was Guilty, of course. Naturally, when the verdict was read, she had a perfect angelic smile on her face. It was finally all over. At least, that's what I thought at the time. Unfortunately, I couldn't have been more wrong. It's been 5 years. But now something has happened that's made me remember all this.